gone by. Where do I begin with this one? I suppose I'll start at the beginning. Following the release of Tears in late June of 2017, I decided to take a break from cinematic projects. But as usual, that break didn't last for too long. According to the project file, I started Days Gone By on July 17, 2017 at 9:14 p.m., only 19 days after I said I would start taking a break. On this day, a friend of mine, who only plays Run8 in single player, offered to open his world as a temporary server so I could get some clips, as he set up a lot of unique consists that you wouldn't see on other servers. And I decided to jump in and do that. It wasn't as fun as I thought it was going to be, though. In fact, several clips were scrapped entirely due to frame rate issues. Any clips that were below 30 frames a second were scrapped because they were too jerky for a music video. This in part simply had to do with the limitations of my laptop. At the time, my Toshiba Satellite was not capable of being able to run V2 smoothly while shadows were enabled. With the mid-range graphics card in it, it just simply wasn't powerful enough. And then I stopped working on Days Gone By for quite some time after that. In fact, next time I would start recording clips wasn't until the day before I released the project, which was September 4th, 2017. So the project took a while. Days Gone By, unlike Tears, actually had a lot of struggles in the development. The most prominent issue had to do with recording. After getting the large sum of clips from my first recording session, I started trying to put the music video together and get it to flow. And some of the clips worked better at the end of the song and some in the beginning, so it was very spaced out. Unfortunately, I hit a roadblock at some point. I had run out of clips. I had no more footage to use, and I didn't know what kind of shots I should do. In a little bit of a panic, I decided to look back at my very first music video project, Euphoria, which was done for Run8 version 1, and used some of the Valhalla Tower equipment, but was mostly the stock equipment. Euphoria had a large number of clips that were cut. Clips that I thought were actually very good, but unfortunately they didn't make the final cut. In order to map out how I wanted Days Gone By to flow, I started taking some of these cut clips and using them as placeholders in the music video to see how things would flow and how emotionally the user would feel depending on where you were in the song alongside the clips. But as time went on, these weren't just placeholders. They eventually became solidified into the music video. And then, on September 4th, I decided to hop on and grab as many clips in single player as I could. Pretty much every clip, except for a few in Days Gone By, was all recorded in single player. I didn't really have anyone help me with this other than my friend hosting his temporary server for that one day. And after that, I decided I would then get Days Gone By out the door as fast as I could. And there were issues with that, which I'll get into. So I'll go back to the origins of Days Gone By. Originally, the project wasn't called Days Gone By at all. It was originally started as Monsters. Now, granted, Monsters in a way has a bit of a double entendre to it. Some people see it as being a metaphor for the monstrous beasts that trains are, but I saw it as something else. I wanted to try and convey how people have to deal with their inner demons, and I wanted to convey that through trains, which sounds bad on paper and sounds bad in production, but I still wanted to try it. The main reason had to do with the music itself. I decided to choose music that I had heard a few years ago, a song that I had fallen in love with from a very well-liked anime, which I've actually not seen, known as Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex. Now, the song I used was one known as Inner Universe, that is sort of like the main theme of Ghost in the Shell. This had a very deep emotional ring to it, I suppose, and so I wanted to use it in a music video. Monsters was going to be that music video. But as time went on, after my first clip shortage, when I started using Euphoria's old clips as placeholders, the project's direction sort of changed. It was less about trying to deal with inner demons, and it was more of it was less about dealing with inner demons and was more of a way to look back at Run8 over the years, with the combination of clips from V1 and V2, which shows how long the development period was, which at that point had been 5 years. As the scope of the project changed, I decided at some point on the final day of recording that I would have to change the name. Monsters didn't seem fitting anymore. So I decided to call the project Days Gone By, as the music video was more about reminiscing about the days of old in Run8 Train Simulator, as well as a mixture of how Run8 is now, or how it was in summer 2017. When I went to release the music video, I was very tired and I tried to do it very early in the morning. Unfortunately, I sort of rushed the editing. Some of the editing all seemed good, but there were a few minor tweaks that should have been completed in post-production, and unfortunately they didn't. Following the music video upload, I was actually quite angry with myself after getting it out there. I had set up the Facebook post and everything, and I had on all of the Run8 groups, I'd already set up the YouTube tags, I'd set up everything. But as I watched my video back for the next time, I realized there were some mistakes I left in. Clips that should have been muted, or points where things were just too choppy. I grew extremely frustrated. I lamented to one of my friends on another Discord server about this at the time, and it seemed like I was just in a rut. Within a few hours, I decided to take a deep breath, slow down, and take the video down, and take the time to properly fix my mistakes. At this point, I was able to recompile it, and on September 5th, I was finally able to release it. The final compile was September 5th, 2017 at 8:21 in the morning, and it was uploaded within an hour or two of that. One thing of note that had honestly surprised me is it seemed one of Run8's developers had caught the eye of this video at some point. I didn't find this until many months later. While scrolling through Facebook, I was able to find, using the public post option, while trying to find out some more development information on Run8, I stumbled upon one of the developers' Facebook profiles, and there was a public post saying that they enjoyed Days Gone By. That was a real confidence booster for me. And in some ways, I feel that Days Gone By was a better production than Tears. Tears, from an emotional standpoint, is very good at what it does. But I think Days Gone By, from a cinematic point of view, may have done it better. But again, it's really up to personal preference, because I love both videos just as much. One thing that helped with Days Gone By's development had to do with the release of Waycross in the middle of August. This allowed me to grab a few more shots on the A-line in new cinematic vistas, and Seligman had been released 2 months prior, giving me even more to work with, although Seligman was very rarely used, only in a handful of shots. And I tried to even include the tunnel motors that we had just recently gotten, although those had come in prior to development, but I had not utilized them significantly. I suppose one of the things that made this a far more difficult project is that I had to do everything on my own. With Tears, a lot of the heavy lifting was done by my friends, as they were the ones running the trains and I simply had to set up the scenes and record. With Days Gone By, there was no one else. So it was me working with the AI, and in some cases just driving trains myself in order to be able to get a decent shot, which took far more time, as I'm very particular about how I do shots. After the disgrace that was Conflicted, which was my second music video, but my first one for Run8 V2, I really wanted to make things flow properly, and I didn't want to have as wonky shots as I did in that, and so I really took the time to try to get better camera angles and get things that fit more in line with the music. Despite all of the frustrations I had, Days Gone By was a wonderful project, and I really did enjoy working on it despite everything. And I'm really happy that it got the reception that it did. People seem to really like it. In some cases, I think some people liked it more than Tears. The unfortunate part is this was probably one of the last good projects I would do in 2017. Many of the music videos I would do after that for a time were, unfortunately, I hate to say this, absolutely terrible. And I'll be talking about several of those quickie music videos in the next The Making of X music video. A few notable ones were Miss You, Hero, and I suppose I should throw in Night Train, although that was a little bit more of a for fun project. But we'll get to those another time. This has been Delta 6 of Valhalla Tower. Thank you for watching. Have a good one.